People don't want to be millionaires. They want to experience what they think only millionaires can buy. The question is, how can you achieve the lifestyle of a millionaire without having $1 million in the bank? Over 5 years, Ferris set out to answer this question and has laid out the key to separating income from time. So, the 4-hour workweek is not about how to save or about finding your dream job, but about how to free up the most time and automate your income. To achieve this, the book presents a set of strategies to follow that spell out the acronym DEAL. Let's dive in. Definition. The book makes a distinction between the deferrers, those saving up all of their money for retirement, and the new rich, those who prioritize time freedom and lifestyle design over conventional notions of wealth. What separates them is their goals and their philosophies. Here are the distinctions between these two modes of thinking. I want to work for myself versus I want to have others to work for me. I want to work whenever I want to versus I prevent work for work's sake and do the minimum to get the maximum. I want to retire young versus I want to regularly distribute adventures and recovery periods throughout my life. Inactivity is not the goal, but doing what is exciting is. I want to buy all the things I want versus I want to do all the things I want to do. I want to have a lot of money versus I want to make a lot of money for specific reasons with definite dreams. I want to have more versus I want to have more quality and less clutter. The deferrer's desire to chase money blindly is foolish. If you can free up your time and your location, your money is automatically worth 3 to 10 times more, as you are no longer paying rent. Ferris chartered private planes over the Andes, enjoyed the finest wines in the world, and lived like a king in a private villa, which all cost less than paying rent in the US. Consequently, money is multiplied in practical value according to the 4 W's. What you do, when you do it, where you do it, whom you do it with. This means that an investment banker making $500,000 a year for 80 hours a week is less powerful than a member of the new rich working 20 hours a week for $40,000 a year, but who has complete freedom over their lives. It's the ability to choose that is our true power. The 4-hour workweek is all about identifying and creating these options so that you can make more money while working less. To be a part of the new rich, the book offers 10 rules that are fundamental to your success. Retirement is the worst-case scenario insurance. It rests on the assumption that you are doing something you dislike for the ablest years of your life, rather than enjoying those years now. Interest and energy are cyclical. Alternating between periods of rest and activity is essential. The new rich distribute mini-retirements throughout their life, instead of hoarding it all for retirement. Less is not laziness. Despite spending fewer hours in the office, the new rich produce more meaningful results than a dozen deferrers combined. The timing is never right. Holding out for the perfect moment to make a decision will rarely come to fruition. Waiting for someday means that you will take your dreams to the grave. Ask for forgiveness, not permission. People deny things according to their emotions, but they can learn to accept them after the fact. Emphasize strengths, don't fix weaknesses. By improving your strengths over your weaknesses, you focus on multiplying the results as opposed to incrementally fixing your flaws. When things are done to excess, they often take on the characteristics of their opposites. Too much and too often of what you want will soon become what you don't want. Money alone is not the solution. We often use not having enough money as a scapegoat for not self-reflecting and working out what we want out of life. Relative income is more important than absolute income. Relative income looks at both money and time, whereas absolute income only looks at money. The former is how the new rich assesses their current worth. Distress refers to harmful stress that makes you weaker. Eustress refers to the type of stress that helps you grow. The new rich seek out eustress and reject distress. Uncertainty and the prospect of failure prevent people from trying new things. Most will choose unhappiness over uncertainty. If fear is preventing you from making a choice, imagine the worst-case scenario in detail. Then, Work out how you could salvage your life if the worst came to pass. You will realize that if the worst happened, it wouldn't be fatal. You would survive, and you would be able to get back on track. Ask yourself a few questions to help you overcome your fears. What is your absolute worst-case scenario? What could you do to repair the damage if this came to pass? What are the temporary and permanent outcomes and benefits of more probable scenarios? If you were fired today, how could you take care of your finances? What are you putting off due to fear? What is the cost, emotionally, financially, and physically, of postponing action? And what are you waiting for? Doing the unrealistic is easier than doing the realistic. As 99% of the world believes they are incapable of achieving greatness, they aim for a mediocre life. But the level of competition is fiercest amongst those battling to achieve realistic goals. There is more competition for getting a job than for starting a business. Therefore, there is less competition for bigger goals. The real challenge is to work out what you want. However, the questions "what do you want" and "what are your goals" are flawed. They need to be rephrased. Generally, we make goals because we believe we are chasing happiness. But this is wrong. The real antithesis to happiness is boredom. Consequently, it is excitement that you should strive to chase. Thus, the question shouldn't be "what do you want?" or "what are your goals?" but "what excites you?" To make what excites you your focus, follow this threefold process. Shift your goals from ambiguous wants to defined steps. Make your goals unrealistic so that they can be effective. Focus on activities to fill the vacuum of work once it's removed. Living like a millionaire requires doing interesting things, not just owning things. Elimination. Forget about time management. It's a trap. You shouldn't be trying to fill every second with work. Now that you've thought about what you want to do with your time, you've got to find a way to create more free time while maintaining or increasing your income. The key is to remember that what you do is infinitely more important than how you do it. While efficiency is essential, it's redundant unless it's being applied to the right things. Pareto's principle says that 80% of output will result from 20% of input. With this in mind, slow down and remember that often, being busy is a form of laziness because it prevents you from thinking. Being selective in what you do and even doing less is the path to being productive. In addition to the 80-20 principle, utilize Parkinson's law. This states that the perceived importance of a task will increase in correlation with how much time has been allotted for its completion. Combine the 80-20 principle with Parkinson's law by first identifying the few critical tasks that create the most income, and then scheduling them in with very short, clear deadlines. To move forward as part of the new rich, you must also learn to be selectively ignorant. It's essential to ignore all information that is irrelevant, unimportant, or unactionable. Most information is time-consuming and redundant. You should critically assess what you look at, read, or watch daily, and establish whether it's contributing to your goals. The book offers a 3-step procedure to help you eradicate useless information from your life. Go on a 1-week media fast immediately. This means no newspapers, magazines, news websites, television, non-fiction books, and unnecessary web surfing. Develop the habit of asking yourself if you will use this information for something that is both immediate and important. Learn when to stop absorbing. If you're reading a poorly written article, don't continue to read it. Automation. Some of the most critical skills necessary for becoming a member of the new rich are learning how to communicate and to manage remotely. An essential facet of being a member of the new rich is learning how to replace yourself within a system. But unless a task is well-defined and vital, no one should do it. Eliminate before you delegate. This means never automating something that could otherwise be eliminated, and never delegate something that could be automated. To get to grips with the idea of automating your life, the book suggests the following. Hire an assistant, even if you don't need one. Start small, but think big. This means looking at what's been on your to-do list for the longest time, examining what causes you the most frustration or boredom, and delegating these tasks. Identify your 5 top time-consuming non-work tasks and 5 personal tasks you could assign, just for the fun of it. Keep in sync by using scheduling and calendars. To only work 4 hours a week and to become a member of the new rich, the key isn't to run a business. It's to own a business and spend no time on it. How to do that? Outsourcing. Pick an affordable niche market. Don't create a product, then go looking for your customers. First, find a market and identify your customers, then develop a product for them. To be successful, you should be a member of your target market. This makes the process significantly easier. Brainstorm, and don't invest in, products. The product should cost between $50 and $200. Shouldn't take more than 3 to 4 weeks to produce. Then choose whether you want to either resell a product, license a product, or create a product. Then micro-test your products. Micro-testing uses cheap advertisements to test if there is a demand for your product before manufacturing it. Do this by assessing the competition and creating a more engaging offer than them. Then test the offer using short advertising campaigns before deciding which of your potential product ideas to back. Once you have a product that sells, it's time to automate it. The architecture of your business needs to ensure that you're out of the information flow instead of at the top of it. To do this, contract outsourcing companies as opposed to freelancers and ensure that all of your outsourcers communicate with each other to solve problems. Assess the value of each customer. Identify those customers who spend the least and yet ask for the most, and cut them out. They cost far more time than they are worth. Those customers you do keep on, treat well, as if they were in an exclusive club. Liberation. If you are currently an employee for a company and you want to enjoy the unrestricted living of the new rich, you could prove your worth to your employer and gradually increase remote working time. On a US salary, you can live like a king in Bali for a few months. Some jobs, however, are simply not worth salvaging. Just because you may have invested a lot of time into a job doesn't make it a worthwhile venture. However, it's fear that prevents people from making a change. Here are 4 of the most common fears when thinking about quitting a job. Quitting is permanent. This is a lie. It's always possible to pick up your chosen career path with a different company at a later date. I won't be able to pay the bills. Yes, you will. If you can get a new stream of income before you quit your job, great. If you don't, it isn't hard to eliminate most of your expenses temporarily and live off your savings for a short while. Health insurance and retirement funds will cease if I quit. This is false. Do some research and transfer your funds to another company. It will ruin my resume. False. Just get creative with your CV. If you quit to do something interesting, this will often make you more attractive to employers in the long run. Mini retirements. Why not take the usual 20-30-year retirement and redistribute it throughout life instead of saving it all for the end? Instead of engaging in binge travel, which most people working 40-hour-a-week jobs do when they get vacation time, you could go on several mini retirements. When it comes to financing your mini retirements, your level of luxury is limited only by your level of creativity. When you compare living expenses in a different country to the amount you are currently paying, you may realize that living abroad could actually save you money. What's more, before going away, it's an excellent excuse to declutter your life from all its unnecessary belongings. This is the perfect time to use the 80-20 rule to ask yourself, what are the 20% of your belongings that you use 80% of the time, and vice versa? Then get rid of the excess. Filling the void, adding life after subtracting work. It's not uncommon that once you arrive on your mini retirement, a gaping void engulfs you where you would otherwise have been busy distracting yourself with work. This frequently happens to those who retire. The first thing to do is not to freak out, as this is normal. The more goal-oriented you are, the more challenging this transition is going to be. In addition, you may also find yourself suffering from social isolation. In the absence of an external focus, the mind turns inwards and can create problems where there are none. However, if you find a focus or a goal, these problems can dissipate. Overall, the most important things in life are to enjoy yourself and to feel good about yourself. To achieve this, there are two fundamental components: service and continual learning. Do something that improves life beyond your own, and strive to continue to learn and grow. Once you discover that life is not a problem to be solved or a game to be won, a real world of opportunities opens up. By mindlessly chasing an ideal of success, you miss out on all of the fun, especially when you recognize that the only rules and limits that exist are those that you set for yourself. You can recapture the magic of your childhood. When you do so, you will realize that there are no more chains or excuses holding you back from living the exciting, fulfilling life you previously could only ever have dreamed of. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep reading, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next video.